banner doors. These are, well, soon to be as famous Malcolm Miller doors, and I'm sure you'll learn all about the history and the efforts that have gone into to save them. And I mean, just today, if ever there was a metaphor for the whole city getting back together, opening up again, getting back on its feet, the huge community spirit that there's been over the last 12 months, it's what the Lord Mayor's about to do today. And I just wanted to say a huge thank you to all of the volunteers and everyone in the very difficult circumstances that the last year has been, that has kept the show on the road, that hasn't given up and has been planning and thinking about how we really take this amazing community project forward. And I was saying to Sabrina earlier, we have now moved into second gear. The trajectory of this is just going to be amazing over the next few years, and it's down to you and all of your support and interest. And it's not just saving an amazing heritage building, it's also what you're doing for our community and especially the young people in it. And it's great to see this partnership with the tall ships. I know that the sorts of stuff we want people to do in this pool does take a lot of courage. It makes you learn a lot about yourself. It broadens and raises your horizons and ambitions, and that's what this is all about. So thank you so much for everything you're doing. And I'm going to hand over to the Lord Mayor to do what he is expert as, and to really declare this season, this summer season, and the Lido reopened again.
Thank you, Penny. Without much ado, I'm just going to make sure I get the scissors in the correct place and open the doors to a better future for here and young people. Here we go.
Great.
The Heritage Lottery Fund are under approach, obviously very keen on things that make people aware of their own local heritage and also improve their sense of well-being. I can't think, if you can't show them how exciting all this yachting is and how accessible it is with sail training, then, you know, don't know, can only ask.
And domestic tourism is high on the agenda now.
The whole Heritage Action Zone thing, and I have sat through some very boring webinars, and they're doing a lot of talking. But I think
there is a lot of talkers, and there's a lot of noise, but it's when it comes down to the action, who's actually doing it. So
I'll send you the mind map, so that's the starting
I'd love
point.
to see that.
And the idea was that if it's all digital, then you have a website and an archive. And if you need to put a physical museum together, you'll have access via screens to all the stuff. And I'm thinking, if you have 100,000 items, most museums would scream because they'd have to have a huge shed to put them in. But if I photographed them or scanned them or recorded them, I think my thing is story, like you.
Yeah.
If you can pick something and follow a story through, like you can with Wikipedia, a trail, then you've not only hooked people, but they'll find the truth in it all, which I think I said truth, that's incredibly pompous, isn't it?
No,
Sorry.
no, I love it, but having an interactive map with all of that stuff, but actually being able to walk or visit these places as well and experience like virtual reality. But yeah.
I mean, what Wing's done with all the track charts for the schooners,
and
I'm going, that not only is social history, but the people who say, I found the trip I was on.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking we all want at some point to go back and have a little sneak look at where we were all those years ago when we were not taking diaries and pictures and stuff like that.
So you can easily make the track charts into interactive maps, and that's what I've said to Wing. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
But you'd be bombarded, wouldn't you? You'd have to have a good team that helped you.
I think the money will go mostly on a very interactive website that accesses the archive. So anyone could do it. And I thought, as a resource, if you really dive into it, there should be no end to it. But if you just want to find stuff because you're from Gosport but didn't know about it, it should go sideways as well. But I'm going, I don't think there's going to be an end to this. I think I'm going to have somebody adding stuff every week. You know, the track charts, models, postcards, stamps. There's a sub genre of stamps with ships and stuff on, and you think, and the links, you can go sideways to the J-class racing and Alex Thompson and Clipper racing and stuff. And I'm thinking, possibly no end to it.
Yeah.
But I need to spend a lot of time and people and money to actually get the stuff inputted and stored.
Well, there's easy ways to keep it simple and not get overwhelmed by it, and just focus, even if it's just focus on track charts. And because you can pull in loads of different things into that, artifacts and whatever, songs.
Yes.
And just, and then it's a little easier to get it done, because it's not, because I look at it and I think it's too much, it's too overwhelming. But
I think, I mean, I would commission the money, if I got it, would be on a very good camera that you could do interviews with, so, because they're all histories and everything else like that, but also a very good A3 scanner. And you see, once you've got it, it's there and it's done and stuff like that. Let me give you a card, just because that's what you're meant to do in business sort of situations, and I'm rubbish at that.
You're on Facebook, aren't you?
I am on Facebook,
I'll
yes.
Facebook friend you.
Brilliant, brilliant. I'm sure actually you'd find my way in via all the things that Wing is involved in.
Yeah, no, I see you all the time. And I saw that you was you made something. It's on Grace and Perry's thing.
I'm supremely embarrassed by that. It was a insomnia and a lockdown thing, and I promised my wife that once I would complete something, and I did it with about 3 hours to spare. I thought I did it, and that's the result. And I was watching something else, and this guy, Colin Baxter, texted me, he says, "Yeah, you're on television." Colin. And I went, I think, embarrassingly giggly. The guy, whatever it is, Darren Brown, had a completely different impression of what it was. I'm going, no, art is art, I don't give a damn. It's fallen to pieces twice. I've got to find a way to actually, if they say, they email said, do you want it, we might have it in the exhibition, I'm going, it won't make the journey. It's made out of little bits of balsa wood and stuff like that. And it really was. It was meant to be me and my mate Herbie, a German photographer, who I only ever see chasing tall ships around the world, and I hadn't seen him last year, and I'm worried I won't see him this year. And it was just about, I wouldn't call it the solitude of, lockdown, all this sort of stuff, but I'm going, we just sit in boats waiting for bloody tall ships to turn up, testing expensive camera gear to distraction.
What's your favourite tall ship?
It has to be the first one you sail on, which would be Lord Nelson, which means that if I talk to anybody from the schooners, they also take a step back from it. But I like any ship that sails, but it has to be Lord Nelson, because it's the first trip I ever did. You always fall in love with your first tall ship. I say that to anyone who's been on the schooners, that's beyond obvious.
And if your dad designed it,
yeah,
it's like, wow.
I do that thing that you have to do in sail training, you have to be pushed to do it. And he said, right, you're doing a bit of work for me, you're on studies, go off on a 10-day trip on Lord Nelson. And it's like every single person you meet, you go, absolutely changed me. If I'm any good as a photographer, it's because I learned people skills on a tall ship and all that sort of stuff. And it's just the best life, Dry land is dark. I've only ever felt competent on a tall ship because they give you lots of little jobs to do, and as a boatswain's mate, as a deckhand, you rush around and you get more exercise than I'm getting now. And you just go, I'm doing all this stuff and I'm actually feeling valuable and worthwhile, which is it's the underlit message from sail training, as we all know. So. Spent more. It's very interesting. I got a mortgage when I was about 38, and you got to figure out the time before that I was just running around on tall ships and rubbish like that. So
Do you have regrets of getting a mortgage?
No, I bought a crappy little flat in Southampton and managed to sell it at not a big profit, but a profit. And I think if my wife and I had been in lockdown for the last year, we would have stretched our bonds of tolerance. We have a nice little house in Gosport, which is lovely. And she's been working from home, but there's no flights, but it was under the flight path for bloody Southampton Airport, and it was next to the Itching Bridge where the ambulances would put their sirens on. And if you're a trucker, you'll move your stuff in the middle of the night, so the rattling of trucks at 3 in the morning to get away, without the roads being busy. And that's without the fact you couldn't get in or out when Southampton were playing at home. And I go, it was all right for 18 years, but I'm glad we're living in Gosport now. We can print that bit.